have a very special group that agreed to speak with us tonight. Next Generation Action Network. They're known throughout the nation. The leadership is impeccable. And what they're good at is getting towards the issues and mobilizing. And that's something that we at SMU are currently working on. As college students, you think we'd be a little bit more radical. And not just radical as in being a rebel without a cause, but radical as in when there's action that needs to be taken, it will be taken. Informally, we haven't discussed anything in regard to what happened at the University of Oklahoma, and that's a little troubling. So I don't know, did anybody get the letter that President Turner sent us not too long ago? Okay, well, that letter, it came on time, and I do commend him for saying that, but let's be clear. A lot of these Greek organizations, they have a history of doing just what we saw on that footage at the University of Oklahoma. It's not anything new. It's not anything shocking. How many people were shocked by what they saw in the video? Hell, if you were shocked, tell me you were shocked.
Yeah, honest raise your hand.
Exactly. So when do we address it and how do we address it? So Ailey, she is actually a representative from Next Generation, so she'll just tell us a little bit about what they have going on there and how they can, work with us.
I'm really honored to be here representing the Next Generation Action Network, but also the student body. I'm very honored to be in your presence because what I do in Senate is for you and for Perkins, but more so for you guys. So the Next Generation Action Network, we're really geared towards, stopping police brutality and fighting against issues of race. We have one of our event planners here today, and I'm going to let her give you a little bit of a glimpse into what we do event-wise. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the issues. But Mallory, if you'll come up and talk about what we do event-wise and kind of, what ideas we have coming up and things like that.
We do a couple of different things because, in fact, we're not just focused on police brutality or just focused on one issue specifically. We're focused on quite a different range of issues that all end up tying in together. So basically, we have upcoming Ruben Garcia that we are very active with in Euless and the Grapevine area.
Know about that?
Anybody familiar with the Ruben Garcia case?
What? No. Oh man, enlighten them about that case. That's also a case that's really, really heavy in Grapevine right now. I'm gonna let her give you some logistics about it because I think that you guys I kind of want you guys to also get like a briefing on what's actually going on, like what's happening. What fights are we fighting? Not necessarily nationally, but also locally. So you can go ahead and explain to them that a little bit.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. I will do my best. As I was having a conversation earlier, there was a lot of uproar with Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and then Eric Garner. And here in Dallas, we did hold rallies and marches here for those causes, but we didn't really have anybody actually serving here at home and dealing with the cases here at home. So we started, realizing all the different cases that we have here in the DFW area. And just as we start looking into that, it's like case after case starts popping up. Ruben Garcia, Jason Harrison, Clinton Allen. I mean, there's so many different names that have been killed by police brutality right here home in Dallas. So the Ruben Garcia case, he was a Mexican immigrant who was driving home from work one evening. I believe it was somewhere around 6:30 in the afternoon, rush hour traffic. And for whatever reason, we still don't know, Officer Robert Clark decided to pull Mr. Garcia over. They say there was a short chase. I'm not sure how that could be interpreted, somebody just trying to figure out how to get over in the middle of rush hour. Are they considering that a chase and calling it that a chase to justify the murder? Who knows, but for whatever reason, Ruben Garcia was pulled over. There is dash cam video that the Grapevine Police Department is refusing to release. We have been begging for this tape to be released, and they originally said that it would at a town hall meeting, and 2 days later came out and said that it would not be released. Ruben Garcia left behind a wife and 4 children. He was the only person that worked in that family. He was the only person that provided for that family, and now this young mother is left to care for 4 children by herself without their father. The youngest child, I believe, was 1, and the oldest was somewhere, I want to say, between 9, 10, maybe 11. So a wide range of ages that these children are going to have to grow up without a father. Our understanding is the family did see the tape. They were the only ones that got to see the tape. And what the family said was that Ruben's hands were actually on top of his head. The Officer Robert Clark, continuously cursed him, called him names from my understanding. All kind of F-bombs were dropped, and he was walking slowly, according to the family, when he was, then somehow it ended up out of the sight of the camera, shocker, and he was shot twice. There is passerby video of Mr. Garcia actually with his hands on his head. There was also a witness that stated that she did see him lift his head off of the ground, leading us to believe that he was actually still alive, and there was no officers trying to even render aid to save his life. We don't know why he was shot. They're not releasing any details. They're not releasing the tape. And that's just one of the cases that we are currently fighting and working on right now. We are very active with Dominique Alexander. He is our president of the Next Generation Action Network. And he keeps us very active with those city hall meetings, city council meetings. And I guess I will let him come and finish if that's...
So I think that before we bring Brother Dominique, because what he's going to say is very profound, especially to what we're dealing with. But this is just one example of the society we're living in. And I wanted her to tell you that whole example, because this is exactly what we're fighting. When I watched Dr. King's speech, it was his first speech. He was nervous. It was in 1955 after Rosa Parks had gone to jail. He told the people in the audience, he said, you know, and maybe some of you don't know, he said, are we wrong? You know? And if we're wrong, then the Constitution's wrong. If we're wrong, then America's wrong. And if we're wrong, then, you know, Jesus is wrong. And if we're wrong, then the God Almighty is wrong. Whether you be atheist or agnostic, then the very laws of man is wrong. So I think that to bring it back home, you know, I don't want you guys to sit in here, and I think that we're really honest at the Black Town Hall, and stop me if I'm wrong, but you all face a lot of issues. Flat out. When he asked that question about are any of you surprised that that video came up, not one of you raised your hand, which means that there is an inherent issue on our campus that I feel like sometimes we just don't want to talk about. And so I think that it's key to know you are not wrong. Because if you're wrong, then that means the very basis of our world changer, every Mustang counts, is wrong. So what I'm challenging you guys to do tonight is don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to say where the problem is. I think that it's really time for us to face the really big issue on campus. Sometimes we don't feel as, you know, as classes. Sometimes I sit in class myself, and I'll share this with you guys because I love you all. Sometimes I'll sit in class and I wonder, this curriculum was not made for me. This curriculum was not made for me to succeed, because if this curriculum was made for me to succeed, then I would have some type of example. I would read some type of Malcolm X in the middle of my, you know, American literature class. Why do I have to take an African American literature class to read Brother Malcolm or to read Gwendolyn Brooks? This is American literature. We are a part of the American fabric. Just because our skin tone may have a little bit more hue, that doesn't mean that we are not the very mere fabric on the flag that we fly so high. So I want you guys to be encouraged, but I want you to be encouraged to not be complacent. Like Dr. King says, become maladjusted. If you do not feel as if your voice is being heard or you're being stepped on, feel maladjusted. Run for student office, run for student senate, run for the presidency, run for the secretary positions, because nothing will change if we stay complacent and we just do what we have to do to get by. The Divine Nine is a powerful entity, powerful, has history after history, full of fighting for justice. I want to see more of them, but I can't see more of them if I don't have you guys on the ground saying, hey, you know, during Boulevarding, can we have the Deltas one day? In the middle of the Boulevard. Can we have the, you know, this chapter of the multicultural organization in the dead center? I want them to be in the center, not way back here where we have to walk through all the tents, not all the way down there where you may see them if you walk past a glance. No, I want them to have a big old tent, just like everybody else. So I feel like there's a lot of change that needs to be had. But the first step is talking about what the issue is, outlining the issue, saying your problem with it, getting together with each other, unifying yourself, and then combating the issue. One of you cannot do it. It takes all of you. Because if one of you comes, one of you could suffer the wrath. But if all of you are together, then who can be against you? Am I wrong? So I just want to encourage you guys. You know what I'm saying? This issue in Oklahoma has shined a lot of light on a lot of issues that we face too, that we probably would never say. We probably won't even say it in this room. Why? Because of fear. So I just want you guys to be motivated and to understand that we have issues. And to wake up, I'm ringing the bell just as in school days to tell you it's time to wake up. It's time for you guys have to do something.